This is part 2 of the interview with the incomparable Tony Lucca. If you've not had the opportunity to listen to part 1, I strongly suggest that you go back to wherever you're listening to this podcast and watch part 1. But don't forget to come back for part 2 because bourbon, it gets even better. The stories are epic and you're not going to want to miss it. Without further ado, Tony Lucca.
Have you ever come close to giving up music?
Mm-hmm.
And for everybody that's out there listening, like anyone who accomplishes anything in any field, you know, people ask me, because I'm a very productive real estate agent, right? So people ask me about starting their own businesses. People ask me about becoming a real estate agent, and I always tell them the same thing. I say, if you do this, there will come a time where you look at the grand total of all of your decisions and you are 100% convinced that you have irrevocably fucked up your life.
Don't hold back.
No, this is the truth. But the thing is, a lot of people go into it without go into
some Scorsese shit.
It's
man.
level 10, right?
It's up there.
And if you don't have a big enough reason, then you will quit, because that's what sane people do. Quitting is sane. Pushing past all of the barriers that you encounter, that is insane. You almost have to be insane to create something new, right?
Yeah.
And so that's why, you know, I asked the question, right? Like, have you ever come close to giving up music? Because anybody who's a creator of music, you probably have come close.
Yeah, no, because at some point there's a certain octane of gasoline that gets poured on the fire, you know, for better or worse. At one point or another, you know, you're either going to really get behind what you do and trust it with everything you have, or you're going to like not. And you know, there's been some times. There's been some funny times. I remember, like, you know, lost on psychedelics in the middle of the woods somewhere, like having some peak experience with my maker and ready to just go, because what else is there? Like, I'm good. I felt like I had a clean slate, did a good job, things were great. I was ready to go, and then, you know, I reached into my pocket and pulled out my hand recorder that I had at the time. This was like 99, 2000. And so Michael cassette. And I winded past the last thing I had recorded. It was all, you know, like speed rewind. And I was like, I was doing that. What the hell is this? And I'm just like, push play. And it was the music, more or less, of what eventually became So Long, my song So Long from Kane's song. It was that chord change. And it was about that "you did me wrong" sad love song. And I started listening to it in the middle of the woods, laying on my back, going through these pines, and just like listening to this echo in the middle of in the middle of the woods, this little hammer playing this music. Like the next 20 years just flashed before me. People got to hear this, and the next one, and the next one, and the next one. You need to do this with footwear, wine, Ethan. And so then I just attacked the next 10 years of my career after that. I'm here to do. There was a time after, you know, just going out on a limb and doing the voice, man, and then coming out of there with a record deal. Like, I made a good call. I made a good decision. I did the voice. I'm going to be that guy. I'm going to be the Kelly Clarkson, whatever, wherever your imagination goes. But when you get a record deal off of doing the voice, you're doing something right on some level, you know, people are tuning in on some level. Okay, you know, like, it did the Adam thing and worked with him on this deal thing, and went out and played a handful of dates with Maroon 5. I'll never forget. I left that tour Thursday night. Said goodbye to him. Like in the, you know, out the tour buses. And I said, hey man, this kind of marks the end of what's on the books between us, but I just really was looking forward to getting some time with you on the song, talking about the direction of the project. Yeah, no, man, please don't ever hesitate to text, email me. Sometimes you just got just daily reminders, actually. I don't mind. Just feel free. I'm like, okay, cool. The next Tuesday, my manager was in LA at the label and going in to talk about the next stage of our project. And they cut him off the pass and said, the label's done. And for the second time in my life, I got a record deal, moved to Nashville with it, and within 3 months of being lost it. But this time, the first time,
Right.
The second time, now I got a wife.
Kids.
I got a wife and 2 kids, and I'm standing on the porch of my house in East Nashville after getting off the phone with my manager, telling me I don't have a record deal. I'm thinking like, what are you doing? What are you doing, man? Is there any validation in here? Is there any like silver lining here, or are you trying to force a square peg in a round? What are you doing? Let's go. That kind of thing. And a few dark nights of the soul, but to get to like the ray of hope within like a couple weeks of that, I got hit to Patreon. Yeah. And I just like, maybe there's something. Maybe there's a way for me to like just embrace the people who have embraced me forever and see like what happens. And so I joined Patreon and have been paying my mortgage consistently for the last 6 years. Yeah. And that is like, okay.
All right.
Okay.
For the record, Tony's not saying this. I'm saying it. Fuck you, Adam Levine. Fuck you.
I'm sorry. What was I using? It sounded vaguely, wow.
It's my podcast. I'll say whatever I want.
It's the podcast. I can kiss if I want to.
By the way, I've had a bunch of whiskey, so I'll say whatever comes to my mind.
Yeah, no, I think if Adam were here, he'd probably be like, dude, mea culpa. I apologize and yada yada yada. So said his last email to me. And
that's so nice.
That's right.
Hey, you know what are free? Words. You know what costs money? Actions. Actions cost. You should take some action. You fucked up. It's a great artist. I know, because I don't pay attention to shit. I pay attention to him. I'm John Q. Public. You should listen. You didn't put enough money into the project, dummy. Anyways. No.
I would love to see some outtakes from the last 5 minutes of the last 26 episodes of this podcast. Oh man, it just dawned on me like, oh, those have got to be some. You probably dropped some serious beaver nuggets, caliber, grade A, Buc-ee's.
My buddy Kip is off camera losing his mind because when we travel, we make a lot of beaver nugget jokes. For those of you who are not around Buc-ee's, they have billboards that make jokes about beaver nuggets. There's a lot of beaver nugget jokes. All right. We should move on. So I'm going to skip some questions because we're over time.
We're over time.
I don't care. It's a good.
No.
It's good content. So you found Patreon.
Yeah.
You get paid as a songwriter.
No,
you don't.
Well, I mean, I get paid for the songs that I've written that are out in the world.
You get royalties.
I get some royalties.
I get some
digital streaming funds that come in on a monthly basis, and
some merchandising. You tour.
I got merchandise. I've got an online store.
So you found a way to survive without a record deal.
Right.
If you could get a record deal with a major label right now, would you want it?
Man, it's a really phenomenal question because it seems like that should be a pretty stock, simple answer. And I think, like, in truth, yes. If I could get someone from like
a real record,
Atlantic or one of the big labels be like, bro, we've been watching you for the last 20 years, and we see that you've got the staying power, and we like your thing. We want to grab this handful of songs, think about this way, that, and we're going to spend this much money to do it. Are you down? I would be like, I'm down.
Okay.
Very simply put. However, and I'm not going to say that that's not possible, because everything's possible. But given the nature of things these days and how quickly things move and change and shift, and that's what I just described as kind of an old school classic record too. So if one of those came across my desk, fuck yeah.
Yeah, you do.
But they just kind of don't. There's no artist development. There's no long-term game. There's no like, hey, we'll just test the waters with the first record. No, man. If you're gonna get in there, and you're like, no one's being signed to a major label deal right now without the prospects of being on the cover of Rolling Stone. That's got to be a part of how you break this artist for the long haul. Mm-hmm. It's like something like, and there's nothing like the cover of Rolling Stone. Like that is a benchmark sort of thing. We need to get major placement of songs on film and television. We got to get major branding with major, ad agency or something. There's a checklist of shit.
Those are manufactured entertainers. Those aren't artists.
Right, and that's just kind of what they're doing now. And so if one of those, if like I got that kind of deal for Atlantic, I'd be like, sorry, I'm sorry. I'm because I don't. Yeah, like I'm too old to look at what shades look cooler than what shades, and what hat is cooler than this hat. I get it, but it's like, no. Not this. I got kids to raise. I got way cooler things to do than worry about that shit. So I'm into the idea of the label thing. It'd be wonderful, and I'm grateful again. But it'd have to be something where it's like I couldn't turn it down, and I don't know that those deals are really out there these days.
No, I understand.
Yeah.
Well, and the reason why I asked is because in my business career, I've worked for 3 or 4 privately held companies that said, hey, you help us get there. When we get there, you get there. Right? We're going to take care of it.
First one over the wall. Yeah.
And turned out that was marketing hype to get me to work hard so that they can make money. Right? So I got to the point in my business career where I said, I don't care if I die in a cardboard box. It's my box. It's going to be my decisions that got me there. I'll live and die by my own decisions. But by God, I'm going to have the freedom to do what I think is the right thing to do. And I'll live with whatever consequences come with those decisions.
Hell yeah, man.
And so as an artist that has a thing in your heart that you feel like you need to put out in the universe, it's always fascinated me because a record deal can help get that thing out.
Oh, yeah.
But it can also fuck it up because they might want creative control. They might want to change things. They might want to, whatever. So you've had, how many record deals have you had? You had the Levine deal. You had one.
I guess
Did you have 3?
I want to say I've had 3. I want to say I've had 3 deals. The Levine thing was the last one, and that was basically I signed to his label. He had distribution through Interscope or whoever, WIA, Warner Electric Atlantic distribution company, I guess maybe. So yeah, they had a thing, and there was some upfront money, not much, but there was some upfront money. They paid for the record. I got to work with some amazing artists, musicians, and writers, and heroes of mine. It was unforgettable, really great experience. But other than that, there was the Shotgun record that came out, my 4th record, and that I signed a deal with my buddy Dale. Dale got Boulder from the Mouse Club. He had gone on to start a label, and he wanted to get into it. He wanted to be a member of the music business. He was getting after it. He was rolling in Vegas money. finding out all the boundaries of, what's appropriate, not appropriate, what legal exposure entails, like that kind of stuff. And so he had this thing, and I had this manager at the time who was kind of a contrarian to what Dale was trying to envision, and it just was like oil and water, and the situation didn't bode well. The money wasn't real, and the game plan was kind of like we just missed the mark on it. There were some oddball things like and this is just, if anyone is curious why this ever happened, I'll be totally candid because whiskey. We got JC to sign on as an executive producer of the record. He didn't spend a dime or a moment's time like in the process, other than when the record was finished and we showed him the master. He was like, "It's great. Yeah, if I put my name on it, it means something to you. But be careful of what it means to you." And I felt good about it because, and this is just, I don't want to go too long on your cast here, but like,
we're off the rails. Fuck it.
Yeah. Basically, this is again crib notes here. JC and NSYNC were in the middle of the peak. They were doing the Pop Odyssey tour, which was a stadium tour, the biggest production caliber tour of all time. It trumped U2, it trumped Michael Jackson. It was the biggest road show of all time, and they have that honor. And they were out there selling 50 to 100,000 tickets a night. like that's as big as it gets. Right before that tour, JC bought a house in Hollywood at the top of the Hollywood Hills. Like no one looks down on his house, but he can see them all. Right. Just put it out there. That's awesome. This rad house, it just hangs off the freaking cliff.
We're staying there for a while, right?
Well, he buys this house right before they go on this tour. And then he says to me, "Hey, man," and I just got back out to LA after being in New York. I'd gone to Nashville, Michigan, back to LA. I'm just back in LA, and I need a place to stay, kind of couch surfing and stuff. And he says, "Hey, man, I'm going out on tour. I just hired a contractor for this house, renovate it, but I need someone to oversee it, keep an eye on it, make sure it doesn't stall out, make sure you're there every day, and just drive by, that they know who you are and that you're my guy." I'm like, "Oh, fucking, yeah, you're fucking guy.
I'll stay. I'm your guy. I'll stay in your mansion.
I'm your guy."
Yeah.
So he gives me power of attorney of like lots of money because I'm going to need it while he's on tour doing this contract. Oh my God. Crazy stuff, right? In exchange for that, he gave me a room in the house after it was done to post up and like do my work. And that's where I wrote and developed a body of work that was Shotgun. Sorry. And so
I'm not good at timelines.
I felt like putting him on as executive producer was like warranted because he gave me
he put you in a situation where it could happen.
Gave me the green light, the playing field, man. It was a phenomenal time. On the business side, we put his name on the project because it might bode well for how we can market this record of JC Chasez. Right. Was he executive producer? So everything's stopped. We're all excited. The record's slated for release early that year, and the year of the Janet Jackson, Justin Timberlake wardrobe malfunction was the year I put my record out. And JC was supposed to do the halftime show at the Pro Bowl in Hawaii.
Uh-huh.
So JC, who was, yes, second fiddle in fame to Justin Timberlake of Sync, Justin put his record out first and was ready to go come January of that year. JC was just ready to launch his record. He needed promo. He needed to like people to remember, like, oh fuck, that was Justin on the halftime show at the Super Bowl. JC from NSYNC just played the Pro Bowl. Oh my God, did you see that footage? Whatever. Like they kind of worked this out. That's not an accident. Jive Records and people were involved in that happening.
It's the whole plan.
Right. So wardrobe malfunction happens.
Mm-hmm.
Probo pulls the plug on JC's halftime show in Hawaii. He doesn't get a spotlight for his debut of his new record. And his name on my record goes from about relevant scale 9.5 to about 3.2. And it was just me dropping a name on the back of my record with an old buddy who I thought might help somebody. It was like this, like a vinegar-soaked pile of paper towels. And no one wants to touch that.
Wow.
So there's that. If you're gonna like break shit down and look at like, who can I blame, you know, all that kind of stuff. That's how I can articulate that as clearly as I can, because obviously that was my like shadow boxing spar partner. Because the truth is, that record didn't win for me because my head wasn't right. The songs weren't there. Like there was some cool stuff about it. There's some good songs on that record that I still play to this day. But like it's all just a growth pattern. It's a gestation period that takes forever. And then someday you grab the guitar, you sit down, you write a song, and you're good. Mm-hmm. 20 years, good. I just wrote that song. You heard that song? I just wrote that song. Good.
So along those lines, what is your favorite song that is your song? What's your favorite song to perform that's your song?
I don't want to sound gushy and get all cheesy because it's your podcast, but it's also a song you helped write. Because honestly, I swear to God, right now, and
you are full of shit right now.
I'm not, and here's how not full of shit I am, bro. I don't do it unless I have the lyrics printed out, because I don't want to fuck it up.
You cannot be telling the truth. Have I told you how, well, you can't not tell the truth because I got you drunk. Because Bourbon, Justin Merrick, love you.
Seriously.
My buddy has a hashtag, because Bourbon. He puts it on t-shirts and things. Yeah, when I sent you my email that you used to write that song,
yeah,
like we were in a huge fight. And so it was raw as shit.
I'm so happy to hear this because, not to hear that you went through that. Because,
no, we fight a lot.
I'm happy to hear that happened.
A lot.
Because here's how the banter goes. And I don't think you guys ever heard me do it live. So you don't, other than like at your.
I saw it on one of your live.
Okay, so you see me discuss it, and I say that like y'all sent me separate emails, and that I could have written a wonderful song off of Lindsay's email because it was perfectly colorful and told me the ups and downs. It was awesome, and it had all the heart and emotion that I would have needed to write a great song. But the lyric "Lucky Ass Man" would not have been that song if I hadn't read your email. Swear to God, dude, like. I knew I could get guttural. I could get dark. I could get like painful.
Yeah.
And not that Lindsay's email didn't indicate that there had been pain and hardship. The truth is the truth. And that's one of the biggest laughs of the night on my show. So I'm like, no, the stories check out. It's cool. Everyone's like, they sent me 7 emails and I just think, ooh. No, the stories check out. It's cool. They're really married for 20 years. But no, I celebrate that song. I think it's phenomenal and it's hard. I'm honest to God, first time I played it with Rachel, I couldn't finish it. I just started crying and she came over and we had a moment. I get choked up every time I think about it. But that song hit me like a ton of bricks, and I don't want to say it's why I'm here right now on your podcast, but like after connecting to you guys through that song, I write Monday through Friday every day, and I have these connections with these co-writers about songs that blow our minds, and we're just so stoked that we got to say this, and it's cool. But like, this is that long distance and even deeper. It's just something. I love the song. I'm so grateful that you guys entrusted me to write it, and I'm so proud of it. I recorded it, put it out. It's coming out on Valentine's Day.
That's crazy.
I
can't believe it.
Some really interesting artwork. I can't wait to show you guys, and I might have should have run it by you.
You have full creative control. I'm not fucking Adam Levine.
I'm a patron, goddammit.
Your song that I can't listen to without crying is Sparrow.
Oh,
but as a father,
yeah,
you know.
Yeah.
And the thing is like I heard the song a bunch of times before I knew that it was for your daughter, because I didn't know your daughter's name was Sparrow. And then when I found out your daughter's name was Sparrow, I'm like, fuck, I cannot. I cannot listen to the song.
Do you want me to top all of that?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh my God, she was a peanut when we made that record. She was such a little girl. But if you've been in a studio, a recording studio or a film studio, like the doors between rooms that are supposed to be the air and soundproof tight, those are heavy doors, and they usually come in twos. Like one you got to pull and one you got to freaking push, and they're heavy doors because then the air seal, and they're just, you know, it's hard to get past that. Like it takes long. And she was just big enough while I was making the record to like pull these doors open and muscle her way and push the next door. She was so little. It was just beautiful. And yet she, as a baby, she didn't know when she can and shouldn't.
Yeah, she just go whenever. So like, you're like, I'm recording.
In the middle of the take, and she's like blasting through the door, like. This is just hang on here. We're gonna record it. We can't move because you move it here. Okay, it's like okay. So she loved the days that I was in the studio, just being the acoustic and just tracking acoustic and all this stuff. She loved coming in because it's a small booth.
Right.
It's literally like a booth where there's a chair against the wall, and I'm sitting here, and I got a microphone on my guitar, and I got one up here on my vocal, and there's like a music stand right here, and then like the wall, you know, ends right here, and just enough room for all of this. And she recording Sparrow, you know, with a record Sparrow, and she wanted to come into the booth. And so, all right, do you want to sit in the control? Do you want to come in the booth? And so she's sitting there on the floor, and you'll hear it on the record. I say, "Hey, Sparrow." She's just sitting while I'm playing that song. She's right there, and I'm just like, "My God!"
This is the second time I've cried on my podcast.
Yeah, dude, it's the shit. Man.
That's awesome.
To share music with the kids. My son's my drummer now. He's so good. We got to play Bonnaroo this summer.
That's awesome.
He's the jam, dude. He just bought his first $340 cymbal. The Janot cymbals are really pricey. I had no idea. I've been at this for 30 years. Did not know cymbals are
super expensive.
Yeah. But he knows what he's looking for. He knew which one he wants. Dude, please let me get out of the way. He's my drummer now, and I tell him, I'm like, listen, band leader dad, a whole lot cooler than dad. So get your shit done.
Yeah.
Do your chores. Get your homework done so we can come to the basement and hang.
Right.
I want my boy. Come down. Let's just jam. Let's watch old Van Halen videos. I don't give a shit. Come down to the basement so we can be cool. And he's getting it. Man. He's totally getting it.
That's awesome.
It's awesome.
So what is your favorite cover to sing?
That's one, man. I just said it last night at the bar in Fort Worth, and the guy on the bill, his name is Lucas Jack. Folks at home, check out Lucas Jack. So good. I call him Lucas Jake all night. I woke up this morning in my hotel room.
Oh shit!
I woke up in the hotel room and I said, and my tour mate was in the other bed, and I knew he was up because he was on my. Did I say Lucas Jake last night? He goes a couple times. I'm like, damn it! Lucas Jack, great singer-songwriter, piano player from St. Louis, and we were sitting there talking, having this great conversation at the bar before the next band went on, and all of a sudden, Paul Simon's "Still Crazy After All These Years" comes on, and we both just stopped. Like, automatrons. I love this song. Oh my God, I love this song. I love this song. And we start comparing notes about how he covered the song. I'm like, oh man, he said, you do the bridge? I'm like, totally the bridge. He goes, oh, I don't do the bridge. I'm like, but I don't do the modulation. He goes, you don't do the modulation? Nerd talk. I mean, seriously, nerds. And so I said, no, this is my go-to. I play it at the crack of dawn if I had to, and I could play it blackout drunk if I had to. I'm not bragging about that. But so crazy after all these years, I got that song in my sleep. I love it. I love playing it. Had a really funny, interesting, cool experience with this during Mouse Club. Even this was we all got into Spike Lee and Eddie Murphy films and stuff, and we always go to movies and stuff. And we all fell in love with the movie Jungle Fever. Kids on the Mouse Club. We were all about that. You know, this kid, like move that forward. Let couples be cool. You know, to be out across whatever. And I bought the soundtrack to the movie because the soundtrack to Jungle Fever, which is a Spike Lee film, is all Stevie Wonder. It's a Stevie Wonder album. It's like 10, 12 songs. Stevie Wonder record that no one knows about because it was the soundtrack to Jungle Fever, one of Spike Lee's less popular films. But the movie is brilliant, and the soundtrack is insane. And oh my God, there's this incredible, the best song ever written by Stevie Wonder is on that record. It's called Make Sure You're Sure. And I learned it when I was 17 years old, and I have been playing it at the level I learned it since. I won't play it for 3 years. I'll sit down at the piano and rock it. Just muscle memory complete. I got it. I got the Make Sure You're Sure program in my brain to say when, right? So last year, this past Oscars, I'm in LA at this gala event, thing, and I'm supposed to play a few songs throughout the night. That's what I was contracted to do. They flew me out there. All right, cool. So they're going to bring me out. They play 1 or 2 songs at a time over the course of this gala event. And then I never get a run of show. I never get when I'm, guys, I don't ever, it's like the show starts in a half hour. You don't have a run of show. And they say, no, we're going to have you do 20 minutes at some point. Just be cool. Doing 20, we'll just keep you out there for 20 minutes. Just do a 20-minute set. I'm like, on the piano? Okay.
Okay. You're like, I'll figure it out.
But that wasn't what shit. So I go out and I watch some of the gala and I look up on stage. And who's up there but Wesley Snipes?
No shit.
Wesley Snipes is up there.
Are you kidding me right now?
And he's talking about his philanthropic, charity stuff. And I mean, the room is just talking. Everyone's talking.
And you're like, shut the fuck up.
I'm aghast. What the fuck is going on? What's this? Just show. What the fuck? But I'm watching what's this doing? Oh my God. Oh my God. And my mind says to him, calculator math. Make sure you're sure. He starred in that film. Yeah. I got 20 minutes on the piano. I'm not going to play. Oh my God. What's this thing? Here's me play a song that I know he knows. Right. He might be the only one who does know this song. Yeah. Oh my God. I started freaking out. Oh my God. So finally they called me out there. And I saw where he was sitting. Right. It's it looks like the Golden Globes. They're just tables that just sprawl out, but way bigger conference room than that. But that's the vibe, right? And everyone's not listening. Everyone's just chatting.
You know what's hilarious is no one listening has no idea the reference you just made. It's like the Golden Globes, but way bigger.
Well, what I mean is that you've watched the Golden Globes. We've all watched the Golden Globes on
TV.
But
to me, it seems like it's a fucking field of tables all filled up with people. I can't imagine anything bigger than that.
I'm talking huge.
All right, so you know where he's at.
Yeah. So anyway, I don't mean the caliber of talent. Clearly, we're on the other side of town where the talent. Wesley Snipes is the A-list guy in the house that night, right? And no offense, Wesley, but all of the Hollywood currents are over on at the Vanity Fair party. Whatever. This is whatever. I don't give a fuck. I'm freaking out. Wesley Snipes is there, and then they introduced me to come out to play, and as I come out, I take the stage, I walk around the grand piano, and I look at the table where Wesley was at. He's not there. I'm going to play it anyway. This first one's called Everything's Changing. It's off my new record. Thank you guys for listening. I play Everything's Changing. It's me and the grand piano. I want to remove a few thousand people. And so then I'm like, afterwards, I finish off. Thank you so much. I'm leaning back this way, and I look, and he's there. And I mean, like, his table is a table removed from the front stage. He's right there. I could talk off camera. Hear me? I'm doing it. This next song, I like, is my favorite song, probably my favorite song. Da 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 is actually the soundtrack of the film that Mr. Snipes starred in. I look at him and he's like, respect. Right, like that. Yeah, you can just see that it was like, to the Wesley Snipes, like, all right. And I just go into it. And I probably overdid it. I'm sure I overdid it. I went nuts on it.
It's not even a thing.
No, I know. But like, I because it's Stevie and it's me kind of doing a proximity of Stevie Wonder, which, like, you know, white guy with soul from Detroit, but like, come on, it's Stevie Layoff. Like, don't try so hard, right? And I'm trying all the way hard to just like blow Wesley Snipes' skirt off. Like, I just want him to call. I want him to text Spike at the table while like, I'm
you're not gonna believe this shit. This white boy is rocking this.
Right. In my head, that's what's going on. Right? Yeah. Nah. I played the song, and
you actually don't know that.
And everybody, like, you know, plays, you know, goes up, and I look over him, and he just down. Oh my God, that's all I needed, right?
Right.
So I finished my set, whatever, and then I go back. You know, it's towards the end of the night as well. So I finish my thing, and I go backstage, and I'm there, and I'm talking with my buddy who booked it for me, and I believe they're organizers and stuff. And now here comes Wesley and his entourage. They're leaving now, which, you know, wow, again, I think we had done hours ago. Walking through, he makes a beeline. And he's like, man, that was something. That was really something. And I was like, man, you are really something. I'm a huge fan. Just been watching your work since, and I realized the timing of it. I've played that song for 20 years. You gotta believe it. He's like, no, I'm like, can we take a picture for Instagram? It's like, oh, yeah, for sure. I was just like, so excited! Oh my God! Like, life made.
By the way, I take screen grabs from the video.
Oh, don't do that.
Yeah, and that's what I post on Instagram. And the face you just made, that's no, I'm joking. We're gonna take a picture. It's gonna be good. So I have one last question for you.
All right. One last little pour here.
Yeah. Oh, it doesn't have to be the last pour. We can keep drinking after the camera goes off.
Which we will.
For
the record.
For the record. For the record. Because bourbon. So you have structured your life in such a way that now you don't have to have a record label, right?
Yeah.
You make enough money to maintain your lifestyle.
Doing it without it, yeah.
All that stuff. Yeah. You also are working on some projects that are not necessarily music related. They leverage the fact that people recognize who you are to do almost more of a motivational speaking or like, you know, encouragement type thing. Yeah. And so I'm just curious, if you had a magic wand and you could just wave it, what would you be doing in your future? Would you have a major record label? Magic wand. Yeah. Literally anything's possible.
No, straight up.
Would you be Tony Robbins?
Straight up, yeah.
Would you keep doing what magic wand, what's your future?
It would be very Tony Robbins-ish, you know, just in its capacity, in its fullness, in its influence. I would have a book signing between 11 and one at the local like jam bookstore, whether it's Barnes and Nobles or like the local spot where everybody goes and gets their books, have a book signing. After which we would have to go like race to the Performing Arts Center to go sound check.
Okay.
And tune into the evening. And then I would go to dinner with the next guest of my podcast that I'm going to have the next day before we leave town. And we just fill our heads with the conversations you and I would have had we had a steak dinner before this one.
You know? Let's have one after.
Yeah, totally. Doesn't matter either way. Yeah. And just like full clarity of every bit of the flow of things. You know, like my team is well invested in. You know, I got the right team around me from the time I get up to the time I go to bed. That I've got the right people to thank. You know, gratitude's a big part of what's gotten me this far, and you don't want to thank people begrudgingly.
Right.
It doesn't work that way. You know, and I'm old enough now to know that, like, even the people that I begrudge, I thank them first because they helped me figure it out. Yeah. And so, yeah, man, I want to have impact. I want to help people. And sure, I'm coming off of like a 30-year career of connecting with people from the stage as a singer songwriter, and I love it. But as you mentioned, I'm starting to venture into the speaking thing, and it's just like a new. It's like having your ego resign, and then you gotta like appoint a new ego, and the new ego is like a little older, a little more relaxed, a little less like self-involved. You know, still gonna keep the ride on the rails, you know, but it's a different ego. And that's what I'm enjoying right now in my 40s now. It's like my wife and I, we're just cherishing the moments to be embarrassed by each other. You know, like I'm just embracing the opportunity to say I was wrong. You don't do that in your 20s, your 30s. You just don't do it. You know, and we do it. I love it. You know, Magic Wand is interesting because it's a large part of how any of this manifests in the first place. It's all been Magic Wand. You know? Then when I was a kid, I was like 7, 8 years old, I wanted my dad to paint an audience on my wall. Like I wanted my dad to like paint an audience, a theater's worth of an audience on my wall, so I could play air guitar in the audience.
That may be the most beautiful thing
ever. I mean, like, that's how deep. That's how old I've been at. Like old the spirit of it has been. I wanted to connect, right? Because I saw it done as a kid growing up in a music family. I saw a connection. People get moved by music, and they're like, "Oh wait, I can do that. I can move people. Watch this, mom, dad." Like, and again, you know, so much of it is egocentric as artists go. You know, you develop this ability, you get pat on the back, you get celebrated, you get the spotlight your whole life. It's cool, but eventually you got to know how to like put that where it belongs and not just jump on a trampoline called your ego.
Side note, I don't think that's ego. So what a lot of people don't realize is that the only thing that's keeping you from doing the thing that you would want to have happen if you had a magic wand is you.
Yeah.
So I have a buddy, Spencer Whelan. He started the Texas Whiskey Association. And I said, Spencer, did you have to get an act of the Texas State Congress? I said, no. So did you have to get the, the TABC, the, Alcohol Bureau to sign off on that? I said, no.
ATF.
I said, what you had to do? He said, convince people that the TWA was a thing. Right? So
Jedi. It's so Jedi.
Well, right. And I worked for this company, and they created a real estate designation with some letters that you can put after your name.
Sure.
I said, did you go to the National Association of Realtors and submit your content? They reviewed it. And
the NAR, not the NRA.
It's right. Yeah. Not the NRA, NAR. Yeah. By the way, they get pissed when you say whole different. Yeah, they have different objectives, right? So I'm like, did you go to them and submit your content and get permission? No. I said, what made it a thing? Convincing people it was a thing.
Yeah.
Right. And that's my podcast. Like, why should I be allowed to do a podcast? Well, because no one's big enough to stop me. Right? Why should you be allowed to make music? Well, because there's no one big enough to stop you. Yeah. Right? So it's not, I don't think it's ego. And sometimes it is, and don't get me wrong. I mean, there's people out there that do things because they're trying to feed their own ego.
No,
right. But I think that most discerning people can tell the difference. The reality is that when you are creating something out of nothing, you're usually doing it because you want it to have a positive impact on the people that are going to receive it.
Sure.
Right. And so don't call it, or call it what you want, but I'm just saying, don't dismiss it as ego if you're out there listening to this. It is from the heart.
Yeah.
And the people that aren't doing it from the heart, those are the ones that quit.
Yeah.
Right. And so when you go this far and you come across this many hurdles and you jump them, and sometimes you trip and you fall and you're skin up and you're bruised and you're beat up and all of those things. But when you get up and you run and you go to jump over the next hurdle, it's because it's not just ego. It's about something bigger. Yeah. Right? And so I do not know what your future holds. But
let me tell you,
I believe that it's great.
Thank you, man. And I appreciate the magic wand conversation, and I agree with you because, I mean, sadly, with the independent artist thing these days comes the whole social media game where you're constantly looking at reach and views and likes and shares and stuff, and that's what, when I said the ego, I guess that's more so what I'm referring to. Is like that's ego consumption. We are worried about those things, so we get in there and get after it. And you need to do it. You need to because those are indicators, and they steer your hand, and you see what worked about this, that didn't work about that, But yeah, I agree, man. I think I just love that you're providing a platform like this to people to come and just talk about bullshit, and yet walk. I mean, I feel like I'm enlightened, and that's the jam. That's when you're really offering something cool. Is that I'm gonna be thinking about this conversation for a long time.
You know what else?
Seriously.
I never listened to podcasts until I started one.
Same.
Right. And so it wasn't like I saw somebody else's podcast and I said, I want to emulate
that. Right. No, right.
It was like I just had this idea, and then after I started a podcast, people were like, "Oh, well, that's
I should probably listen to other podcasts.
This is like this, or this is like that."
Possible.
I'm like, "Oh, I didn't invent this. Other people are also doing it."
Way off.
Right.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. So if people want to get involved with what you're doing, because you've got a lot of stuff going on, right? So
always.
There's music, there's speaking events, all that stuff.
Yeah.
Where do people go to find out how to get involved?
TonyLuca.com just celebrated. TonyLuca.com is now legal and can drink.
No shit. That's legit.
Yeah, no, I had my own domain before most people in our generation knew what fucking domain is.
That's
Let alone
amazing.
millennials who are trying to jump in about domains. Yeah, 98. I started TonyLuca.com. And man, I'm so glad I did. I held on to it all these years, and it's been ups and downs and ins and outs of people going to websites versus people going to bands in town versus Facebook versus MySpace. Still bitter, Justin. You brought sexy back. You couldn't ring MySpace back. Sexy, much tougher climb.
Yeah, it's a tough climb.
Fucking MySpace, you should have been able to bring that back.
And in the off chance that you watch this, I always joke that, like, no homo, but I have a man crush on you. Like, I'm not attracted to you at all, because I'm not gay, but I do definitely have a man crush.
You might have to fence. Cool.
No, there's no fence hopping. We'll talk about it off camera, but no fence hopping. But love you, bro.
Love you, mean it.
Yeah, love you, mean it.
Signing up. Man, no, for real.
So TonyLuca.com.
TonyLuca.com, yeah, is where I'm at. I'm on Facebook /TonyLuca. Luca does on Instagram and Twitter, because I thought, like, speaking about myself in the third person when I posted what I was doing. Luca does this, and then that was stupid after a day and a half.
But then it's stuck.
Luca does. It's stuck. So that's what's up. But yeah, I'm on Spotify, and Spotify world is growing by the day. Yesterday, I just put out the new single, Sexual Healing, in honor of the moving.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So for those of you who are not familiar with Tony, he normally does not have this porn stash. This is a new.
Yeah, I love porn stars because I think you're right. Because initially I tried to trim the top and make it like that Frenchy thing, that sort of straight angular thing.
Yeah.
And I felt like a dork.
But it's a fun.
So now I'm just
like
drawing out what I've got.
It's like a fundraiser thing or something, right?
Well, yes, Movember is this annual campaign that these guys from Australia started to raise awareness and eventually, and now clearly, funds for men's health issues, prostate, testicular cancer, anxiety, depression, and stuff that just kind of goes unreported, discussed. Like, the stats are astounding.
Mm-hmm.
Movember.com, check it out. It doesn't need to be November to support Movember, but I am doing this month. I'm rocking a mustache in honor of my musical companions and people in the music world that I know and have known for years, who have suffered and struggled and been afflicted with these things. It's the least I can do. But this year they decided to do this whole, what they're calling Mo Sound, which is a music campaign where they are reaching out to emerging indie artists to cover legendary songs by iconic mustachioed artists. And they hit me up about it. I was like, what? Are you kidding? Shoot me the list. What's on this list, right? And it was like Jim Croce, Hall & Oates. And I'm like, oh my God, the list was so good. Freddie Mercury, of course. And then I saw Sexual Healing by Marvin Gaye. You know what I'm saying? Sexual Healing by Marvin Gaye. I didn't think of Marvin Gaye as like a mustachioed guy, but he like that goatee. Yeah. So I was like, man, let me do Sexual Healing.
Yeah.
Do Sexual Healing.
So
I recorded.
I want you to go download it. It's on Spotify.
It's on Spotify.
Go download it. We listened to it right before he got here. He sounds shockingly like Marvin Gaye. It's not like you like.
No, right? It's weird.
You didn't do like this whole other.
No,
rendition.
I mean, I would describe it like this: like imagine like an ice tray of Marvin Gaye's vocal performance of that song. I filled the ice tray perfectly.
Right.
Like I didn't try to overdo Marvin Gaye. I didn't try to pretend to be Marvin Gaye. I just sang a Marvin Gaye song and demonstrated how when you grew up in Detroit, you know how to sing Marvin Gaye songs, man. Like it can't come out any other way than the way
you did it.
I
right?
can't.
You're not gonna improve on it.
I'm not. No way, man. Like he's butter and I'm margarine at best. Like he's the goods. I'm just filling the fucking ice tray. Yeah. That's all, man. Like that's how I feel. It's my version of Marvin Gaye's sexual healing is like the quintessential karaoke version.
Bullshit.
It's how they grade like on Guitar Hero, and like if you can sing it as well as I can sing it, you'll get an A on Rock Band or whatever the top.
All right, no, don't listen to that shit. He's too humble. All right, well, if you'd like more information about Bourbon Real Talk, you can find us at bourbonrealtalk.com, Facebook and Instagram /Bourbon Real Talk. You can search for us on YouTube. And what the channel needs for all of you Tony Lucca fans out there, because we have a lot of good content. What we need is subscribers and reviews, because we are a slave to the algorithm. And the algorithm will not show our content to new people unless you subscribe and review.
That's the thing. That's the thing. Take a second. If you sat here for the last hour and
we're gonna break this into 2 episodes.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
2 episodes and you're still watching, guys, please take the next 3 minutes
and subscribe and review. Look, you don't even have to listen to the future episodes, right?
Nope.
You don't have to. You probably should. Right?
Probably.
It's gonna be good. It's gonna be good. But if you don't want to, it's okay. But if you want to help us out, just subscribe and review. That's all, right? And as always, if you woke up this morning and you were unsure whether or not somebody loved you, just know that I love you. And I'll see you next time. Bourbon Real Talk.
Thank you.
Thank you.